Jesus said to his disciples, "Gird your loins and light your lamps. Be like servants who await their master's return from a wedding, ready to open immediately when he comes and knocks. Blessed are those servants whom the master finds vigilant on his arrival. Amen, I say to you, he will gird himself and have the servants reclined at table and proceed to wait on them. And should he come in the second or third watch and find them prepared in this way, blessed are those servants. Be sure of this: if the master of the house had known the hour when the thief was coming, he would not have let his house be broken into. You also must be prepared, for an hour you do not expect the Son of Man will come." The Gospel of the Lord. Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ. We're starting the second half of the year, and we're almost right in the middle of the month of August, and for many people, these few weeks before the school year starts again kind of, slows down. July, August, summer months. The weather doesn't help. I don't know how many storms we had in the last few weeks, thundering, lightning, the humidity. So there is kind of a routine, and we slow down and then we pick up again by the end of August, and the fall comes and we go on. That feeling, that routine of these weeks of July and August were broken violently in the last 2 weeks with all the different shootings and the racial violence and the hatred that we have experienced and are experiencing. Innocent people having a good time at evening in Dayton, Ohio, and their lives are shattered in a second. The Mexican community in El Paso, all of that, everything that we're breathing in the last few weeks. And I don't know if you noticed that right after the second shooting, the next few days, there were more news of someone here or there trying to do the same thing or pretending to do the same thing. So the feeling of insecurity and fear is part of our daily lives today. Last night I was talking to Marcelo. He's a Dominican friar who teaches in Rome. He's a good friend of Father Enrique. He's spending a few days with us, and we were talking about that, this emotional state in which we live nowadays. And there is rage, and there's fear, and there's insecurity, and there's a sense of powerless. And I found myself the other day praying like the people in the Psalms, saying to God, almost pleading to God, saying, "How much longer, oh God, how much longer?" That prayer is part of the Bible. You find it here and there. People at the one point or another are crying to God, saying, when is this going to stop? How much longer do we need to endure this pain and this suffering that we are inflicted on each other nowadays? And then we go from, I was talking to Sylvia the other day, we go from moments of hope, and then again, a period of hopelessness. We think we reach a moment of certain peace and tranquility, and then here comes another crisis. I don't know how many of you feel that we are on a roller coaster. We go up and down, up and down, up and down. And it comes to a moment where your mind and your heart cannot take this anymore. And yet, look around people, 10 a.m. on a Sunday morning. Here we are, praying, breaking the bread of the Eucharist, breaking the bread of the Word, singing, blessed are the people who trust in God, who loves God. We're singing, we're praying. And when I was thinking about that this week, here we are on a Sunday morning doing this, I said to myself, God, it really takes a lot of faith and courage and hope to stand on a Sunday morning at a church anywhere in the world and in the midst of everything that we are experiencing, saying we still believe. We still believe in the power of hope, and we still believe in the power of faith, and we still believe in the goodness of the human race, and we still believe in the faithfulness of our God. It takes a lot of courage nowadays to do that, to come on a Sunday morning and say, I believe in Christ crucified and risen from the dead, and I believe that we are not alone on this journey. And the question that I had to deal with this week, and as I was reading the scriptures and looking at the story of Abraham and Sarah and their faithfulness, and there was one phrase there that says they didn't even know where they were going. I don't know if you picked on that. They had no idea where they were going, and still they went on. I said to myself, how do you not give up faith on God? How do you and I do not stop believing in the goodness of the human person? How do we do that? How do we not give in into hopelessness and fear and desperation? How do we do that? How do we live a life nowadays in which we seem to be riding a roller coaster? How do we do that? The story of the gospel this morning, the parable, is wonderful and is powerful. It's a story of servants who have been waiting for the return of their master. And he returns unexpectedly. And then when he finds his people waiting and awake, he tells them, sit down. Now I'm going to feed you. Now we're going to reverse the roles here. The ones who were servants until then are going to become the ones being served, and the master is going to become the servant. It's a change of roles in a very powerful way. And the gospel calls these people who have been waiting for the return of the master, the word they used is blessed. Blessed are they. And they are blessed not because the master found them working or even praying. They are called blessed because the master found them waiting and awake. And then once again, I remember going back 35 years ago in the seminary that the word blessed is really a word that comes from Latin benedictus, benditos. And when we hear that word, we tend to think, well, these people are called blessed because they were holy, because they were good. The word blessed, benedictus, what does it really mean? It's a Latin translation from a Greek word, and the Greek word, and I think I told you this before, I know I have said it before, the Greek word was makarios. And makarios means happy. Happy. So the translation should be how profoundly happy, because makarios means someone who is profoundly happy, someone who is completely fulfilled, very happy, very fulfilled, the people that the master has found awake and waiting. There is a word in English that we don't use much, especially in Miami, since we talk different strange English and Spanish in Miami. The word bliss. You've heard that word before, right? Blissful. So bliss comes the blessed. And bliss means what? You're in heaven. You're filled with joy and happiness. This is a blissful moment. So it's really blissful people, the ones who the master finds waiting and the master finds awake. Blissful people, profoundly happy people. And they are called that. They are called Macarios, because they knew how to stay awake and they knew how to remain waiting. You and I this morning are being called by the gospel Macarios people, blissful people, profoundly happy people this morning, because you and I are here this morning because we believe that the Lord Christ will come again and will return again in glory and majesty. That's what we proclaim, and that's the whole liturgy of Advent. For 4 weeks, the church remembers that and celebrates that the Master will come in glory, and that moment everything will be shalom. The kingdom will come to its full realization. So we are waiting, and we are people who are awake. But we also need to remember that part of our Catholic theology says that the one who is to come has already come and comes every day. We live in that tension of what it is and what will be. We live in that reality between what already happened and what will come to its fulfillment. So we are blissful people, happy people, fulfilled people, not only because we believe that he will come and we await and we are awakened, it's because we believe that he comes every day. It's because we truly believe with all our hearts that every time we cry and then we're profoundly consoled, the Beatitudes in Matthew, we believe that he has come. Every time that you and I cry and our tears become into laughter, he has come. Every time that we are hopeless and then we move into a moment of hope and dreams and yearnings and planning again, in spite of everything, is because we believe that he has come. When we feel lonely and abandoned, and then we move into an experience of unconditional love of friends, then he has come. And whenever you and I feel that God is absent, and we feel emptiness, and we wonder if God is even listening to us, and then we move into a moment of profound peace and transparency and light, he has come. So happy, blessed are you, blissful are you, because you await and you're awake, knowing that he comes to you and to me. Again, people are called blissful, Macarios, happy in the gospel, because they await and they are awakened. Meanwhile, while we wait for that moment of final coming of the Christ, in which the kingdom and shalom will be forever, I pray this morning that in the midst of everything that we live and experience, in the midst of our rage and our pain and frustration, in the midst of our crying to God, when is this going to stop? I pray that our rage will turn into peace, because we cannot build peace if we are not at peace within our own hearts. I pray that our tears may turn into joy and dancing. We sing that song many times in the church. I pray that you and I may never walk away from those who are suffering and the poor and the outcast. I pray that you and I may never fall into any kind of judgment or accusation. I pray that you and I may never forget our own history and our own journey. I pray that you and I may never ever take away our eyes away from the Master, the one who comes and is to come. I pray that you and I may never stop waiting. And I pray that you and I may never fall asleep. Remain profoundly awakened, knowing that he comes 24 hours a day. And I pray that you and I will also be called Macarios, profoundly happy, fulfilled people, because we believe in all our hearts, in spite of the roller coaster, we believe that our God is among us. Only people of tremendous faith and courage dare to gather on a Sunday morning and say, we believe. So I pray that you and I may never give up on our faith and on our belief in the goodness of the human person.